The global motorcycle culture is developing fast. Every year, thousands of people go to the Wheels and Waves Festival in France and Spain to see the unique motorcycles from around the world. Russia has never been represented here. Head of motorcycle workshop Fine Custom Mechanics Sergei Maltsev decides to change the course of history and build a motorcycle based on a Russian-made bike Ural to send it to Biarritz. If we make this motorcycle worthy, we will make a limited edition. It's gonna look really sexy. But the team are not ready for the difficulties that are waiting for them along the way. For me, these people just don't exist. It's such a stab in the back. That's what I never expected. Will the engineers be able to prove that Russians can build stylish motorcycles?
What do you think, Julian?
Oh, I really like it. It's really cool.
Biarritz, a Russian custom motorcycle in Europe. The Russian community of motorcycle customizers is fairly tight, and everybody has known each other for decades. Sergei Maltsev decides to join forces with the workshop Fitil DMC. This team will be charged with building a bike based on an old Ural to take part in the Wheels and Waves Festival. Me and Sergei have known each other for many years and have talked before that it would be nice to do something together. Alexander Fetisov, Fitil, head of workshop Fitil DMC, one of the best customizers in Russia. It's a real collaboration, a union of two workshops that set a common goal: to set a record and build beautiful racing motorcycles. Sergei Maltsev, head of workshop Fine Custom Mechanics, multiple champion of Russia and world champion in customizing. Once he came to my home and said, like, "Let's try and take part in all this." Well, of course I agreed. I liked it. Preparation. Inspired by Sergei Maltsev, Fitil's team gets down to work. Let's start with the obvious. This one, and this one. You cut here and we take off the lower part. No Soviet motorcycle has been brought to this workshop in years, and the mechanics are unhappy with the build quality. It was a piece of shit. Soviet crap. Horrible. In a word, it's an Ural. I've grown estranged from them during the last 25 years, especially from the old ones. Cut what you can. We'll take it off the bench later. 20 fucking minutes, 40 fucking years of life of engineering, and 20 fucking minutes of cutting. Crap. We're going to reassemble the frame and take the fitting parts from the old one. But of course, finishing will meet modern demands. It's time for a difficult stage, time to get creative. But the customizers know how the genius ideas are born. In delirium, how else do you want them to be born? You lay down under a hooch still, open your mouth, allow the drops to fall in, and after 2 weeks you understand what to do. It's easy. A team is vital for any project. While the engineers are working on the bike, Sergei pays a motivational visit. Hey, Sanchez. I thought you're up to your eyes or waiting for Santa. Whoa, man. Do you have an XXL? Fuck, it's cool. Check it out. If I squeeze in, I will suffer tolerantly because it's so cool. Look, this one is beautiful. Hey, let me see. Wow, that's amazing. It must be too long. Is it 3XL? It's good though. I just have to get used to it. You look really cool in it. To me, it's a whole new story. A new stage of building motorcycles in our country. No one has ever joined forces to create something like this. Plus, it's based on an Ural. I really want to build beautiful, rideable, and interesting motorcycles in our country. Development. The development of a custom bike starts with drafts and computer graphics. Modern technologies allow for calculating the parameters of a future motorcycle. First, you have a draft like sketches or caricatures. Sometimes they're even funny. Then engineering comes in, with all the dimensions and proportions, like angles, handling, geometry, all this stuff. And then comes a serious guy with a powerful computer and starts playing Tetris. I like that everything matches in here, all lines are balanced. Look at the swing arm, the engine, it's cool. Outlook is important, but not least is the engine. To get a better positioning at the festival, it is necessary to understand what the engine is about, the maximum torque or the maximum power. I measured the shafts to understand where to start, to make our own camshaft. It had to have good torque at low RPMs and increased maximum power. In the Soviet Union, talking about design was commonplace. Bikes were utility. We had a goal to build a motorcycle that could surprise a sophisticated, trendy audience. You can't surprise them with existing solutions. Urals have been customized in all sorts of ways, like nearly all possible ways, but not exactly all. Wow, check it out! What a lovely engine we're starting to see in a pile of crap. The bike will compete in a 400-meter race, but the engine has grave faults. Here's the intake port of an Ural engine head. Doesn't look good. Compare it with the one of Harley's, which has been engineered to allow sufficient space for the airflow to bypass the valve that gets in the way. Thus, you get a proper filling of the cylinders. While here, you have an impression people just drilled a hole, not even thinking there will be air going into the engine. This is what we had to change. The bike has been named Puncture F after Fitil. But apart from building, it had to be tested before going to Biarritz. Fitil has to tune the engine and make the frame before the first road test. But the team is overwhelmed with new ideas and risk not meeting the deadline. It would fit damn well. Look, it would be just perfect, like Urals. There will be another unusual thing, probably the most unusual thing. I mean, technically. Nobody does this usually, but we have modified the engine heads so that the carburetors would be placed not behind the heads, but above them. It will be kind of an immersion turbo. It's gonna look really sexy. Finally, we have the engine parts from the painting shop. There you go. A place for a washer. That's how we cut. Okay, like this. And here. Ready. To visualize the fuel tank, the guys cut it from polystyrene. A prototype allows to see the future faults. But here, Fitil is completely overwhelmed by the desire to create. Oh, fuck! There's a strange creature with a yellow mouth starting to look from the darkness. Shall we paint it yellow, like Sandy? We'll call it Water Closet. We can take the fork as our reference point. Let's not touch the lower part for now. If we cut more, this part will become even wider. Well, kick his ass. Shit, Biarritz. That's how I imagined this guy. See? Like this. That's it. Sergei Maltsev is an experienced exhibitor, and he decided to choose an extravagant rider for the race. course, I would be very much interested to take part in this project. Natalia Lubimova, two-time motorcycle road racing champion of Russia, Yakhnich Motorsport team rider. Can you imagine, a beautiful girl comes to Biarritz riding an Ural and wins? Hi. Hello, boys. I'm Sasha. I'm Natasha. Nice to meet you. Wow, so warm. Listen, it has become much better than in 1993. I don't know how it's going to steer. There is nothing left from the original Ural. The gas will flow not on you, but onto the cylinders. This is an advantage. Okay, I'm lying about the steering. I know it's going to be good. It now has a thick fork, very well suited for its mass. It has drum brakes. It's scary, but you're gonna tell us how it feels. Natasha is our star in road racing. She used to have the title Miss Bike Show. She has first-hand experience with Urals. She had been riding them for years. I think it is one of the most interesting projects in recent years, and it would be great to demonstrate good result and not to spoil it all in the new team. To make the project interesting and colorful. The time is running out, but on the final stage there comes a problem that threatens the entire project. The bank has frozen our accounts. That's the last thing I expected to happen. Will Fetil's team manage to build the bike on time and send it to the festival for its 200,000-strong crowd to see? Biarritz, a Russian custom motorcycle in Europe. Biarritz, a Russian custom motorcycle in Europe. The shipping date is just days away, but the team still doesn't have all parts delivered. At this moment, a very unexpected news arrives. Sasha, today is the day when we need to make some very radical decisions. You know, the bank has frozen our accounts with the money that I had to transfer to you for the parts. Look, even the payments have been rejected. This would be the money for your work, for the parts. Of course, we could get away by using our own money. But there is another problem. My parents have been diagnosed with cancer. Chemotherapy costs 200,000 rubles. You understand, if I have to choose between helping my parents and going to Biarritz, of course I'll be with my parents. To be honest, I rely on a miracle. We'll solve it. It's not the best time for such jokes. It's a stab in the back. That's the last thing I expected to happen. Unfreezing the account will take at least 2 months, and the engineers will not make it on time. Fetil has to make a decision whether to continue building the bike or leave the project. We can't leave Sergei. This is a serious project. We've spent a lot of effort. Let's try to make this happen. Fetil doesn't want to give up the goal to surprise a sophisticated audience in Biarritz, and goes on working on the motorcycle. He decides to make clutch and brake levers key elements of the bike. Hi, Sergei. I have a wish to carve threads on the bike. No problem. I want something like, you know, the Slavic ornate, interwoven leather, like belts and, you know, on some good weapon. Yeah, that's a good idea. Moreover, I will try to combine it with like, you know, I will play with mushrooms. Yeah, that's damn good, man. Yeah, no problem, brother. No problem. The whole point of giving Sergei the levers is to allow him to out his soul in them. Now, here's the rib. Should I divide it in two? Played with it and decided to carve the thread. Right here. Everyone thinks we cannot produce anything for mass market here in Russia. But we can. It feels bad to realize we don't have a normal motorcycle, though I should say Urals have become much better lately. I have many friends riding them. They also have other motorcycles, but praise Urals, although they know what they talk about. They ride far and in heavy conditions. They say it's a good bike. Let's go! What's going on there at the back? I'm very well seated. Very well seated. The rest was nonsensical blah blah. This bike is like an exam for me. I will report on everything that I did in the recent years and in my career. Because it's easy to make a beauty out of a Harley, but not an Ural. Fitil and his team are happy with the results of their work. But it's not enough just to build a motorcycle. You have to start it. Thanks to my friend Sergei Dorokhov and his company Alliance, we managed to solve the problem that seemed to be a dead end. We couldn't go on working with our assets still frozen in the bank. Having solved one problem, we faced another. With just 2 days left before their shipping, Fitil still hasn't prepared the bike. I think he hasn't even tried to start it yet. This made me decide we would substitute it with Rook. Though it was initially planned, it would take part only in an exhibition. Natasha will ride it. That means we would vacate one slot on our stand, so we decided to bring in Puncher CR, the bike that we have been designing for Bonneville, that will take place in August this year. We started working on it at the same time as Fitil, but it is almost ready. It looks ideal. I think it will really impress the motorcycle gourmets in Biarritz. It's the last night before shipping. It either starts now or never. Shipping. In just an hour, fine custom mechanics are to send Rook and Puncher CR to France. But at the fixed time, Fitil's Puncher F is still not at the meeting point. It arrives in the very last minute. But Fitil and his team never had time to do a road test. Well, no time for a break-in, but a real chance to be late for the race. There's about 1,000 kilometers between Geneva and Biarritz. We'll break in Rook and Pancharev and CR and get them ready for the race. There will be enough time and distance. They have great roads and the weather is great. I think nothing will get in our way. New storms, new floods. Water has already reached gardens and houses. There is no connection available in this area. It's a fatal catastrophe. Our original plan was that while we drive 4,000 kilometers, we will surely have a chance to take at least a short ride on the motorcycles and understand how they go and what their soft spots are. But we hadn't been driving all those 3 days. We had been sailing. There was a fat chance they would cancel the entire event. Sergei and Pyotr, the rider, have been on the road for 3 days. Tiredness is taking its toll, and rain ruins their plans. There is a danger of not bringing the motorcycles on time for the race's registration and custom show. But after a 7-hour drive, Sergei is at the border between Spain and France, where the Wheels and Waves Festival will be taking place. He has to make sure his trip was not in vain. Biarritz is one of the most famous resorts in the Atlantic region. Due to the special configuration of the bottom and the Gulf Stream, the ocean heats up to 25 centigrade. Combined with the height of the local waves, this place is the global center of surfing. Since 1950s, tens of thousands of amateur enthusiasts gather here alongside the professional surfers to ride the French waves. It comes as no surprise that Wheels and Waves Festival is held here. And it's not just a community of the like-minded people. It's a large-scale event that unites the lovers of custom show, surfing, skateboarding and motorcycle culture enthusiasts. Every year, in the middle of June, Biarritz turns into a so-called place of power. Irrelevant of the status and occupation, people from around the world put their work on hold and come here, into the city that unites them with one simple word: freedom. What will the participation in the race be like for the Russian team? Will Sergei Maltsev reach his goal at the festival? We wanted to make it better, but only made it usual. Fitil and his team had to prepare the bike for the race. It's not that I'm unsatisfied, they just don't exist for me anymore. Watch next. Who will play the decisive role in the project and what will the Europeans say about the Russian motorcycles? Biarritz, a Russian custom motorcycle in Europe. Biarritz, a Russian custom motorcycle in Europe. The southwest of France, with its mild climate, attracts VIPs, world stars and even royal family members. This place is considered to be one of the most quiet and peaceful on Earth. But once a year, this silence is broken. The festival's opener is the El Rolo race that takes place at the La Sarthe-Oria Hippodrome. The hubbub of the crowd joins the reverberating roar of the engines when participants roll out. They're divided into 4 categories: rookie, vintage, modern and super hooligans. But special attention goes to the hand-built bikes. Everyone knows how hard it is to build a beautiful rideable custom. Making it fit for racing is next to impossible. I've been coming to this festival for 5 years already. I've made friends with a lot of people, and this is my first race at Wheels and Waves. Modern bikes and old-timers, mini bikes and even three-wheeled motorcycles compete on a flat track. Spectators from amateurs to motorcycle industry professionals come here to entertain, ride with old friends and make new ones. The first time I saw Sergei was at the Nuts and Bolts exhibition in Moscow. When he was going to Biarritz, he invited me to his place, we talked, and I told him what I know about this race. I think I inspired him as much as I could. The guys brought 3 bikes. I think it's really cool. I saw that, for example, on a flat track you can see ancient bikes competing against the modern models. And these oldies cause more wow and even succeed. Well, before they fall. I really liked it. It really excited me. I tried telling the guys from Moscow we can do something cool too. This year there is about 50 people here. Your team is the biggest, but a whole lot has arrived. I often hear people speaking Russian. I think it's cool that so many people have come, and I hope next year, based on our experience, there will be even more. Surrounded by mountains and picturesque plains, this place is called the Lost Paradise of Free Spirit. The organizers of the festival say that if you come to Wheels and Waves, you move with the times without nostalgia, but having taken the best from the past. 4 days of races, motorcycle trial, surfing, performances by the legends of motorcycling and professional skateboarders. The atmosphere of the show and festival. Besides, it's a great opportunity to learn about the latest premieres. The festival stands on the cutting edge of the motorcycle culture. All of the latest tendencies are demonstrated here very vividly. And it is very important for me as an organizer of such events in Russia to follow the trend, see what people like, how people demonstrate themselves and their creativity. That's why I'm here. For those who like to thrill, a couple of fearless stunt riders perform a show called The Wall of Death. The action takes place in a high wooden cylinder, circa 11 meters in diameter. Due to the centrifugal force, the riders perform different stunts that make blood run cold. The organizers warn, this kind of riding can be performed only by professionals. Don't try to repeat this.
Danger, it is dangerous. Some guys will never do it. Someone will do it in 1 year, some in 3. It takes long time. Danger, it is dangerous. From the beginning of this show, maybe 15 riders in all the world have died. And today we had a crash. My partner Jan from Holland, he had a crash, so he's okay. He can do the show today in the Wheels and Waves.
A rider's goal is to ride counterclockwise in the lower part of the cylinder, gradually ascending. He has to gain sufficient speed to ride horizontally to the floor. Not every bike is fit for such stunts. You need a motorcycle with the center of mass placed low, engine placed low, and fuel tank on one level with the seat. All parts must be approximately in the same plane. The history of the show starts in 1911 in the USA. Despite its life-endangering nature, the Wall of Death is still popular in the world and mesmerizes spectators with its visual appeal and engine sounds.
My dad did it before, and my granddad did it before, so it's a family tradition. My brothers did it, So I'm the last one now from my family who keep doing it.
It's time for the Russian customizers to show off their bikes to the visitors. It's fantastic, really. The Russian motorcycles are rated on one level with the leading manufacturers and are even better in many respects. They are better designed, they have state-of-the-art look and ideas. It really warms my heart. And what is happening here, I mean, how well the Russian team has integrated in here, it's just perfect. The exhibition at Ala Alerati is the heart of the festival. It's here that the serial and racing motorcycles of different decades are demonstrated. The exhibits at the stands feature state-of-the-art technological solutions, creative ideas, and impressive hand assembly. Apart from amateurs, the exhibition welcomes real legends of motorcycling from around the world. One of them is Ella Van Dutch, an Italian photographer, participant of numerous rallies, scriptwriter of the Custom and Bikers show, who really knows what is a beautiful motorcycle. What is her opinion about the Russian bike? Ella is undoubtedly an undisputed authority in the motorcycle business. She's been there for a while and knew Larry Indian and worked with West Coast.
It's my new bike.
Really?
Really?
Wow. So have you been here before or it's your first time in Biarritz?
First time.
First time.
But all time I look at this here. This is good place. This is stylization number 7117.
Okay.
And 7.
Oh, say 117, right. Wow. So cool. So cool.
I really liked that she said it's another step. I hope that here, with these motorcycles that we're showing, we're starting a new tradition, new culture and new style. Nobody has done this before. There is no similar motorcycle. I know this for sure. The first day of the festival ends with a loud party and a draw of a motorcycle. Russian custom motorcycles Puncher CR and Rook have gathered good feedback from motorcycle art lovers. Tomorrow the team will compete in a 400-meter race where Fitil's Puncher F will have to show what it's made of. Biarritz, a Russian custom motorcycle in Europe. Biarritz, a Russian custom motorcycle in Europe. Because of Fitil's Puncher F arrived on the very last day, Rook had to take part only in the custom show. We decided to play safe and prepare Rook for the race. While the Russian riders are going through the technical inspection and get their numbers, they're told about an important clause that hadn't been indicated in the rules of the race before. You stand on the starting grid, take your hands and legs off the handles and pegs, and that's it. You stand and wait. As soon as the guy shoots the gun, you have to open the throttle wide, shift the gear, and go. A big crowd has already rushed to the track. The organizers didn't tell the rules of the race in advance, and the riders didn't have time for practicing in Moscow. The visitors are ready and are waiting for a spectacular race. Despite the circumstances, Natalia Lyubimova is ready to open the sprint racing. As it was progressing, I realized I was standing next to the most decorated Japanese who were invited to the festival. One of them was Shinya Kimura. To tell you the truth, I was scared. I was very scared because 400 meters is not a big distance, and you have to make everything right. And that's it. Just seconds to go, Vincent, the organizer, signals us to get on our marks and picks up me and Shinya. I thought, wow, that's destiny. We start and I see that he didn't start very well, not as a rocket. And I'm like, cool, let's see who wins. We gain speed, accelerate, but of course his bike was more powerful and he had to beat me. But this is bitchin' to lose to such a guy. And I'm one of the happy girls who have had such pleasure to fight, to be on the starting grid with this man. The Punk's Peak race is where participants compete in pairs. The loser is kicked off and only the winner returns to the starting line.
Here is not something about to win or not win. It's not something about real competition. We are here to have fun. Every rider must have fun. So here at Wheels and Waves, the mentality I would say it's enjoy.
This reminds me of some blocky, really blocky races in the street. A really competitive race. And Fitil and his team had to prepare the bike for it. It's not that I'm unsatisfied. They just don't exist for me anymore. When I had to go forward, I was going back. It's good that the road was going downhill, because the bike didn't just refuse to go, it cut out. This made me realize my misery and unpreparedness for this level, for this kind of an event. When I came to the starting grid, I felt like hiding. The motorcycle simply wouldn't work, just wouldn't. It ran on a single cylinder and cut out. Considering that this was our first experience, I think this is like kicking the door open. We somehow managed to make the bike cross the finishing line on its own, not shaming ourselves in front of the amused European public and pulling it towards the finish. It's not that the Russians came with some bike and rode somewhere. I saw a guy fall in front of me on his bike. I saw 4 or even 5 riders make a bad start when they couldn't shift the right gear. But their motorcycles were running more or less smoothly, while we failed completely, I mean technically. I am very disappointed because of this. I really had high hopes. I liked it. I was ready to see a worse result, a worse effect from our appearance, but I liked it. It was a really cool event. Sergei is slightly disappointed with the result of the race. Together with the team, he brings all 3 motorcycles to the main custom show, Art Ride, to register. Tonight he will find out what people really think about the Russian bikes.
Punchy CR is behind me, and this is one of the coolest Russian bikes I've seen. I love the paint on it. The design is a little different than some of the bikes that I've seen before, but it also has kind of a classic feel to it for a new bike.
While the fans of the motorcycle art are going to the pavilion, the Fine Custom Mechanics team are pulling out their bikes, getting ready to welcome the guests on the stand. On Art Ride, they don't award prizes or cups. The organizers pick the 15 best motorcycles out of 1,000 applications. Sergei Maltsev wants to hear the opinion of the local crowd that has an independent judgment of the motorcycle culture. These are the first custom bikes based on Ural at this festival, which is a turning point in their market positioning. All of a sudden, Sergei is approached by the French rivals who remember him after their meeting in the USA. Their opinion can negatively affect the attitude towards the Russian motorcycles.
We met FCM Fine Custom Mechanics in Bonneville 2 years ago in 2016, and today we met them again in Biarritz, and that's cool because they have got new bikes, and those new bikes are wonderful. Look at the details. I mean, the polished things for the air and the compressor, and it's pretty rare to have a bike, Russian bike with a compressor that goes very fast. So
it's very beautiful. It is a masterpiece for me. Every detail has been thought through. It's a very beautiful motorcycle. The details I see here and here. Now look here, the heads. And here. Much effort has been put into this bike. So it's a really good job. And I understand why you want to reveal and demonstrate this Russian brand with this very motorcycle.
When I look at the bike, it is a wonderful made job. I see the compression part, very good one. The cool down, I like the job at all. When I see it,
they say magnifique, fantastique, pointing at every part. Like only God could think of this, but you made it. It's nice to see foreigners gazing at the motorcycle because it's something new for them. For us, this event is new, while they have the first experience with our bikes. But the Japanese custom designer Shinya Kimura is still the main star at the festival. There is a book about his minimalist motorcycle design in the West, and his opinion will be decisive for Sergei and his team.
I'm really happy to see this bike because nobody put the supercharger onto Ural motorcycle. I was racing past 12 years in Bonneville, and look at these details. He made everything like these shapes, supercharged. Yeah, it's really nice. I love it.
We've created a stir around Ural. I hope it will give us a good momentum to do something further. I have no doubts I have chosen the right way. Firstly, this is my country. We have our own motorcycle here that has never really been taken care of. I think that by making a good motorcycle, I will demonstrate that we can produce anything, even mole traps of really good quality. Not only did Sergei bring a beautiful Ural to Biarritz, he proved Russians can build stylish rideable bikes. Having faith in their walk of life and the support of the like-minded people, the Russian bikes have a successful future not only in our country, but also in the world. And this is just the beginning.